Welcome to TICE, and in this Women's Day special series, we have a man with us. Yes, generally we talk to females on the Women's Day, but today we are talking to a man who is doing something special and something unique for all the females out there. Let's get into this conversation and unravel his journey. Welcome, Mr. Mahipal.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure being here.
So, to begin with our conversation, can you tell me how you founded Revaa and what really inspired you to get into this industry, which is considered as a taboo?
The entire storyline behind Revaa about its inception happened during COVID. When during the second phase of COVID, my wife got COVID and she was isolated. I have twins. I have a son and a daughter, and my daughter got a first period in the midst of that phase. My wife being isolated and me and my son both were absolutely shocked on how to handle this situation, right? And that's where I actually started thinking, and that situation brought out a lot of thoughts in my mind where we call ourselves educated, we call ourselves progressive, and that's when, if we call ourselves progressive, I should have been able to handle that situation and give the comfort required to my daughter. But the sad part, I was not able to, and that's where it led me to start speaking to other men around in my circle. And the situation was even worse than what I had imagined. A lot of men with daughters were not even comfortable in talking about it to me, right? Let alone their daughter or their wives, right? And some boldly made a statement, "Ye to aurton ka kaam hai. Why should I even get into it?" So those were the main issues that actually got me encouraged towards thinking in doing something in this arena, in this market. Yes, it is a very big market which is surrounded with taboos, stigmas, and all preconceived notions. And especially when a man comes and starts talking about it, it raises a lot of eyebrows. Consciously, I made that effort that we will have me as the face, because that's what the change that we wanted to bring with Revaa. Because a lot of women talk about it, right? But when a man talks about it and he gives the relevant information to women, right, it makes the difference. It makes the women starting to understand that their health is more important than any other thing. So those challenges and those aspects encouraged and inspired me to take this forward and bring out the actual meaning and reference for Revaa.
So, as you mentioned that you started with your daughter's first period, you talked, like you initiated a talk among your circle, and you got a response that was expected, I would say. But what were the gaps that you noticed in the market that, really inspired you to venture with such a product?
See, the gaps, as in the entire menstrual hygiene product market, is predominantly focused around disposable products, right? Where we have sanitary pads, liners, and the works. And there are multiple global brands, domestic brands. There are unstructured market, which is even a larger player in this market segment, where I came to know about, and when I, in my research, came to know about reusable products in the menstrual hygiene industry. That actually intrigued me, and with the research that I did, I found out that it makes not only a viable sense for the women, but also has a very positive impact on the environment. So why not get that message out to women and to the general public that they need to make that shift? Because today, when we talk about menstrual hygiene products, the first thing that comes to our mind is a white pad with a red blood spot on it, right? And nobody can imagine anything beyond that. So when we talk about reusable products, a lot of women in our initial days were feeling irky that, okay, blood, how will the be absorbed? Will I have to touch it? Will it touch my skin? But the best part and the beauty of the product, of the reusable product, is that nothing is on the top. on the material that is touching the sensitive area, there is nothing that is going to make the women feel irky. It is all absorbed within and is absolutely dry. That is the exact gap in the market that I identified. And also going forward, what we had actually thought that it's a very small segment where people are only talking about reusable products in the sense of pads, liners and panties. But there is a huge life that women lead. So we are coming up with a complete different range of products which women can use in their day-to-day chores, like going to the gym, right? So those are going to be all-in-one period products where they don't need to stop living their daily lives and can go with the same comfort, with the same absorbency, with the same comfort, the same safety that they feel with the existing products that they are using. So that is the gap that was there. It is more about awareness, bringing out the accessibility of the products, making sure that women adapt to hygienic products, right? Because the larger part of today's population is using unhygienic products. They don't have access to it. Monetary is just one part of it. They don't know how to go about procuring it because it's not easily available in the rural areas, right? There's a lot of work being done by the government, by NGOs, right? But in the disposable arena, there is a certain number of pads that you can give a certain group of women, and those pads will get over. What then? If they don't get that replenishment, where do they go? They will go back to the old means of unhygienic. But with the reusable products, though the cost comparison is different, the reusable products initially will cost a little more, but it actually gives the women the safety and security for at least 100 washes, which is almost a year's menstrual days for a woman, right? So if we give a woman 2 pads, right, it covers her for the entire year. And 1 year of usage is good enough for a woman to actually realize the importance for herself. And that's where we want to take this.
So, Mr. Singh, you talked about the societal challenges that you faced. But if we talk about the entire femtech industry, that is feminine tech industry, so it is dominated by a lot of big giants. What were the challenges in terms of entering and breaking that industry?
No matter how big the market, how many big players that are there, you have to create your own niche, right? It is about how you communicate and bring your message out to the public.
So maybe if you can highlight, how does your product stand out?
So what Revaa does is educate women. Our hero product is our reusable period panties, right? We come up with real case scenarios that a woman would face in her day-to-day life. You being a news anchor, right? In your day-to-day, you're going for shoots, you are totally traveling, and there could be days where you don't get that time to go and change. So we bring the message out in a relatable way where a woman will talk about how the reusable period panties has actually made the difference for her during her normal day life. So we bring the message in a very, very realistic way where women understand the benefits, how it can be used, how important it is for their health, right? And the maintenance. So everybody gets the idea, and that is where the relatability angle comes in. And Revaa is trying to be a BFF. Everyone, where every girl or a woman can come and speak to Revaa and get a solution for her problem.
Okay.
And that's how we want to we are tackling it.
Also, this includes female hygiene, and when it comes to health product, females or like both the genders, males, females, are quite conscious about it. So how do you break that conversation? How do you make sure that you are addressing the health part of it consciously?
Like you said, and like this industry it's a stigma.
Right.
There is a lot of taboos attached to it. First of all, it had to be me who had to be comfortable in talking about it. So that's the first thing that I did. I became comfortable. I made sure that I'm fully aware of what the entire phenomena is all about. And then it's basically going and talking to a group of women, right? When I did my first session, women were shocked, right? That, okay, a man is going to talk about it. But to my surprise, and I was also a little anxious on how will it be perceived, the entire session went off more in a better way than what I expected. Because the conversations that built out of it, a lot of women opened up to what issues they faced. A lot of women said, my daughter is on the cusp of getting her periods. How can I introduce this reusable product to her, right? So that conversation built up to such a level that it actually made more sense, and that's where I got my confidence in terms of ensuring that yes, a man needs to lead this conversation and not let it be like what everybody does, that a woman talks about it, because that is where the difference is. The sad part about our society is women, and it's a good thing, have reached heights of success. They are business leaders, they are managing homes in the best way, they are doing fantastic in the startup ecosystem. But issues like these are not addressed openly, right? A lot of women were not comfortable in talking about their periods. But yes, in due conversation, they opened up. And that's where, as a man, I was comfortable in talking to them. And that made it easier for them to adapt and build that conversation. We conduct these sessions, right? And one of these sessions that we conducted, there were around 40 women who were mothers for the students who were studying in that school. I openly asked in the forum, I said, how many of you, and I asked them because they were below poverty line, so I asked them, आप में से कितनी महिलाएं हैं जिनको periods एक मुसीबत लगती है? 39 women raised their hands, and there was one woman in the audience who was smiling. It intrigued me, but I said, okay, let me go through it and then I'll come back to that point. I had my session for 45 minutes. I addressed everything. Before I could go and meet that woman who was smiling, the other 39 went to her and they asked her, why were you smiling? They said, I've not got my periods for 1.5 to 2 years. And I'm happy that I don't have to go through the pain that you all go through every month. So the 39 women told her that after this, please go see a doctor, because that could lead to a lot of health issues which are not controllable. So it's not a happy moment, it's something that you need to address. That is something, these situations actually give me the encouragement that yes, we need to reach out and educate people, not only women, men as well, to go about understanding of what the entire phenomena is. Because she was happy and she had 2 kids. So it shows the kind of not being aware of what it has effect as it has on her health. So that was a very big thing that opened my eyes as well, that we need to do more. No matter how much is being done, is still little.
So, coming from the business part of it to your journey. So, how you as an entrepreneur really sees it, and what were your challenges as the entrepreneur? Because when you start a journey, when you start a venture, it needs a lot of funding, it needs a team, it needs a lot of support. So how was it for you and how you started it?
Every journey has its challenges, has its ups and downs, and being in my second venture, I personally know that the right team is what makes the difference. The idea being floated from my personal experience, I needed whoever worked with me on this, on Revaa, needed to be working with the same passion with what I do. Because if you are not comfortable in talking about periods, right, you will not be able to deliver the essence that the brand wants. Surprisingly, a larger part of our team is men, right? And my first assignment to them is, Go home, be it your wife, your sister, your mother, your sister-in-law, whoever, go and ask them about their periods. Some take 2 days, some take 7 days, some take 10 days. But that is what is the ice-breaking journey for them, because they go and they ask. And that's where the entire openness comes out. Because at home as well, where a lot of these people who are working, not everybody is open-minded. There is a lot of orthodox thinking that is there. So for the families to start thinking about it, that okay, we need to talk about it, that's where the entire change happens. The right team makes all the difference. We have to be, as a brand, as a founder, very clear on what we want to do with the brand, where we want to take it, what is the message that we want to deliver. That is very, very pertinent, and that is very important, because that clarity, if it is not there, you can be going a million ways, right? And that's, in the initial phase, there were some moments where we went astray. But then yes, when we regroup as a team, we know that okay, yes, we need to come back. We need to be on our path that we have defined for ourselves. So that is where I see as an entrepreneur that we need to focus on and ensure that the brand moves in the right trajectory and ensures that the work that is being done matches the vision and the mission of the brand.
Also, you are running a bootstrap venture. So when it comes to bootstrapping, also being a serial entrepreneur, so you totally understand that bootstrapping comes with a lot of challenge, with a lot of constraints. So how do you manage that pressure in everyday life?
Yes, bootstrapping is not easy, right? It's a very risky proposition. But if you believe in the entire mission that you are on, I think it is very meaningful. There are days where I want to throw everything out and say, I'm done. And that's a part of an entrepreneur's journey. But then there are days where I feel, wow, I have made a difference. So it's a mix of all of this. Financially, yes, there are constraints. Keeping things in mind, keeping the vision clear, ensuring that the margins that we work on are there for us to be able to sustain the growth. Keep trying new avenues of generating the money to be able to support the social angle as well. Because we as a brand want to ensure that we may be a D2C brand selling menstrual products, maybe a commercial establishment, but our social angle is equally important, because it's personally driven by me. I am a part of all my campaigns, and that's where I don't let the team let that angle be let off. So the moment we get opportunities where we see that, okay, if it's meaningful, we go ahead and we participate.
So since you're leading something which requires a lot of social talk, so as a startup and as somebody who is creating a change, what are the two, or maybe what is the one social media platform that you really rely on?
I would say it's a mix. It cannot be just one platform that will deliver results. There has to be a complete proper blend towards all the efforts that we do, right? Digital marketing in the current scenario is very, very important, right? And how you adapt that and you bring out the right message is important. There are a lot of people who are hooked onto one digital platform, but the Gen Zs, Gen Millennials are hooked onto another. How do we create that blend? How do we curate the content which addresses concerns for both? Because there are two different market segments. And that is where, as a brand, we create a balance. Obviously, when there is a certain kind of a campaign that we are doing, which is addressed to a certain market segment, obviously the efforts towards one platform will be more than the other. But then it is balanced off. The team collectively takes a call on how that campaign will be taken forward, how the message will be brought out to the audience. Because if the message is not brought out in the app in the right way, it'll lose its meaning and the efforts will go all in vain. And that is where knowing the details of each platform, how it performs for us, is very important. So we make a mix. We also use not only the digital platform, we use media as well in its own particular ways to bring that message out. So everything has to be balanced in the right mix.
So wrapping up the conversation, from you, I want to understand one thing, like what are your 3 key lessons that you have learned during your journey of 2 startups, and what will be the tips that you would like to share with the aspiring entrepreneurs out there?
3 tips. One is be passionate in what you do, right? A lot of people, a lot of younger minds are actually adapting to the startup ecosystem with a sole thought in mind to raise valuation and have an exit. It is good. I'm not saying that's a bad option. That's a bad thought. It's good to have that because wealth is created, right? Because then you are obviously creating something that someone has seen value in. But you have to be passionate. You have to be patient. You have to give in your hard work, your efforts diligently. It cannot be that you give a half-hearted effort and expect miracles out of it. I think 1 in 100 startups get their dream exit, right? But other 99 have to be persistent in their journey. And that can only come when you are absolutely clear on your journey. The second is building the right team, being able to take the hard calls. It's not that you've built up something and then the journey will go on. In between, you have to know to take a step back, look at it from a broader angle, that is the brand going the way we want it? And that's the vision that you need to maintain. And the third is keeping the numbers real. It's good to grow. It's good to have a 2x, 3x, 4x growth every year. But maintaining that growth is where the challenge is. And a lot of organizations that we've seen have that super high trajectory of growth in the initial years, right? But they are not prepared for the plateau, because the plateau has to hit, right? And that is where the issues start cropping in, because you've built up your ecosystem in such a way that when it hits a plateau, everything falls and you are not real to yourself. And being real, knowing what you can deliver on what you have on your plate and maintaining a good growth is what the entire concept has to be.
So thank you so much. This was Mahipal Singh in this exclusive conversation with TICE. To know more such enticing startup stories, stay tuned with us.